Yo, okay, so now that my haircut is fresh, I've got a couple other things I need to do, and then I'm going to take you through Laureles. I'm going to explain why it's a great place to stay, why it's an amazing place to walk, and I'll walk a ton. I usually do somewhere between 15 and 20 miles a day. Part of that's because of my dog, part of that's because I just love walking and exploring. All that said, check the link below for the shoes that I wear that allow me to have the most comfort in doing all of that. I'm gonna stop, I gotta pick up some pastries. After I pick up those pastries, we're gonna head through Laureles and I'm gonna take you through a tour and kind of explain some of the ins and outs of why Laureles is a great place to stay if you're here in the Medellin, Poblado area and wanna kind of get away but be close to everything. So stay tuned for that. Peace. Hey, okay, so we are not in Laureles right now. We are outside one of my favorite bakeries in the Poblado area, Bake Eat, because I had to get some brownies before going back to the Laureles area. So I don't normally eat brownies. We'll talk about that differently. For those of you that don't know, I'm Neo. Welcome to the channel. I'm going to provide you all the tips, tricks, and the things that people don't typically think about before traveling to common destinations like Medellin, Colombia. With that said, I walk a ton, probably 15 to 20 miles a day on average. And the things that allow me to do that are linked below. It's Zero shoes. I totally recommend them. As we do this walking tour of Laureles and I show you why Laureles is the closest out of the way place to stay when coming to this area, I will be wearing my Zero shoes as I am now, and I definitely highly recommend them. So check those out, linked below. In either case, I'm gonna call an Uber. We're gonna head over to Laureles and I'm gonna talk a little bit about the city, the area, why it's great. And then it's early right now, it's afternoon time. This evening, I'm gonna give you a little bit of the night scene and vibes of the Laureles area. In either case, check out Bake Eat. If you're in the Poblado area, it's absolutely incredible. I highly recommend the brownies with arequipe and chocolate chips. It's to die for. Stay tuned. Hey, okay, so I gotta use the key. I had planned on setting up another camera and hitting you with the side-by-side of the camera, and then I just was like, I'm tired, I'm hungry, and I don't have time for that. So listen, welcome to the apartment. We are in Laureles. I'm going to give you a quick apartment tour. I'll tell you the price of the apartment here. It's your typical. The one thing I will not make the mistake of doing is showing you outside. I mean, we can take a little stroll outside, like about this far. And the reason for that is I've had several people comment, specifically here in Colombia, that people like pay attention to YouTubers and where they are in their locations and apartments, and they happen to know buildings, units, where, etc., etc. So I'm not gonna do that. That said though, this is the lighting is here is like, you know what? Let's pull this chair in. Hopefully you can still hear me because it is typically pretty loud outside. People don't understand how important the lighting is, especially when your skin is darker in complexion. All right, let's chat. I'll take you a tour of the apartment. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, kitchen. It does not have an oven. For those of you that don't cook or are coming on vacation and you're not planning on cooking, not having an oven for really cooking is not a big deal. However, let me tell you, if you order cookies or buñuelos or any of those type of pastries that are better warm, I personally like to warm those things up in ovens. I don't like to use microwaves, and so it's very sad, even for those things temporarily. That is one issue and challenge I really don't like about this apartment. The other thing I do not like about this apartment It's noisy. I'm talking noisy. And there's a school right down the street. And in the morning, oh my goodness, I cannot forget. There was this one morning, this lady was telling every child that arrived, good morning, buenos dias. And I'm talking loud. And I was like, can you please shut up? It's 6:30 in the morning. But other than that, this apartment is great. The location is very centrally located within Laureles. One of the things I really do enjoy, I don't know how loud that is on audio. One of the things I really do enjoy about most of the Laureles apartments is that you get your own key and that there is not a doorman. There's no doorman, no security. It's really more like local. The people that typically live in those buildings are a lot more local. Whereas Poblado, even Sabaneta, most of the people that you run into in the apartment buildings are, you know, extranjeros, digital nomads, and people from outside of the country. There's a nice mixture, but here in Laureles, it's primarily residents that are Colombian. Okay, some other things that you should know about Laureles. There are not a whole lot of skyscrapers or tall buildings for apartments. Very few. So, you know, a lot of people are like, you know, I like Laureles, but I want it to be quiet. It's impossible for you to know if it's quiet before you get here. It's really tough. And the reason for that is because these buildings are lower, a lot of street vendors. If I have the video, I will bring it in right now.
Llegó el paquetón de muslos y perniles por 20.000. Y ahora también pregunta por la canasta de 30 huevos.
Right now. And if you didn't see the video, it's because I didn't have it. But it's a vendor selling eggs, if I did have the video. In either case, there's a lot of vendors that come through the area selling things. It's their job. But they don't do that in Poblado, in Sabaneta, where most of the people are living in high-rises, because no one's coming from the 20th floor down to buy your eggs. And they're not going to hear you. Here, they will hear you. And they will come down. There's a woman across the street that literally has a bag on a line. I'm not joking. And she'll send it down for Rappi deliveries. Rappi is the local delivery chain, kind of like Uber Eats. There's another one here called DD Foods. I'm actually waiting on wings right now. But in either case, my point is, that's something that's different and it makes it noisy, and you really won't know until you're there, which is also why I recommend never, ever, ever, when you're coming into Colombia, really any country, book your Airbnb for a few days. I know a lot of people are like, I want to get a deal if it's a month. Make an agreement with them that, hey, I'm going to book it for a few days. If you want to block the month because I'd like to stay for a month, please do. But I need to be there first to get a feel for it. Because no matter how great the apartment is, no matter how great the location is, you really never know. All right, let's not take too much time on this. I'm going to show you guys the apartment. I'm going to try to remind you about some things that are different and things that you need to look for as you're looking for your apartment in Airbnb. The noise. I hope you guys can hear the noise, though I hope that my audio is clear. As a YouTuber, one of the things I've come to realize is that people forgive bad video editing, but bad audio is almost impossible to watch a video, especially since some people watch YouTube videos without watching at all, and they're just listening to me talk. All of that said, I'm going to go through the apartment and try to give you some things to remember when you're looking at and trying to get an idea for where you should stay, specifically here in Colombia, specifically here in Laureles. Okay, so we'll start with the entrance. I apologize for the light, but here, let's turn this on. This is the laundry room. It's a mess. I do not dry my pants because they shrink, and I can't afford to have my pants shrinking. They're already small enough. So, but this is the laundry room, and a couple things to point out here. So, hot water heater. I don't care if the listing says the apartment has hot water. specifically in hotter climates, but some people try to get away with it in Medellin as well. They'll tell you that the apartment has hot water because for people in Colombia, without a hot water heater, if it's warm outside, the water is hot to them. So when you are looking at Airbnb, if it says it has hot water, cool. But make sure if they don't have a picture of this as the hot water heater, which this is an instant hot water heater, there's goods and bads, look that up on the internet. But you don't leave the water running when you take a shower. You turn it on, you wait for it to get hot, you rinse, you turn it off, soap up, turn the water back on so it's hot again, and continue. Next, washer and dryer. Is it a washer and dryer? There's only one unit, I don't know. So let's turn this off. If you look, and this one, man, when I tell you the little things. So here you'll see where it says solo secado, which means just for drying. Okay, this is a combo washer and dryer. It's not two separate units, which means you can wash clothes, you can dry clothes. Most often the settings are together, so beware of that. Look, and if it tells you, and if you see pictures of this rack and it doesn't tell you if it has a washer and dryer, assume that there is no dryer. Okay, because a lot of times they have a washer but they don't have a dryer and they just have this rack. Luckily here they have both. That was a question that was asked. Okay, so you come in, this is the apartment. You can see it's pretty good space. Built-in bookshelves. This is bedroom number 1, which is a mess. Typically when I have guests, they'll stay in here, hence the reason why it's a mess. But pretty good sized bedroom. I mean, I would venture to say this is probably 12 feet in distance. Feet because I don't know what meters are. See, I'd show you outside, but then people would know where I was. So we'll go out of bedroom 1. Nice artwork, table. I hate glass tables. Anyone on Airbnb that has an Airbnb apartment, I'm a digital nomad, okay? Glass tables do not allow mice that are optical to work, hence the piece of paper, okay? The signal just goes through the glass. So please don't get glass tables, they're annoying. Kitchen. This is the kitchen. This refrigerator is actually a large refrigerator for Colombia, but a small refrigerator nonetheless. Freezer up top. Gotta have the essentials, chicken and ice cream. And then my refrigerator, which does not have much because I typically buy the meat that I need when I need it. And sink, drying rack. There's no dishwasher, though there are apartments in Colombia with dishwashers. This one does not have one. And as you can see, there's no oven, right? So, cooktop. One of the things that drives me nuts, and you should ask this, if you do cook and you're planning on cooking, maybe because you're staying for a long time, ask them what they actually have, okay? I do wonders in this kitchen, but it's literally 3 pots, and that's it. So, there's no pan. I make my eggs in a pot. I make everything in pots. It's kind of annoying. Living room area, TV. Okay, tips on the TV. Ask them if they have Netflix or Disney or HBO Max or any of those things, because they will tell you it's a smart TV. They'll even show you an image on the screen of Netflix, but that does not mean it has a Netflix account. So if you have Netflix, fantastic. But if not, don't let the pictures fool you. I'm not going to go out on the balcony, but there is a balcony behind me. And then we have 2 bedrooms here and another bathroom. So let's show you that. Again, not going out on the balcony based on YouTube and people trying to find me. So bathroom number 1, nothing huge. It's just a decent bathroom. Okay, space, walk-in shower. And, so just because you have a hot water heater, like an actual unit, you also have to make sure that they ran that hot water to each of the bathrooms and the sink in the kitchen and all of that stuff, because sometimes, this is bedroom 2. It's kind of a mess to have all my recording stuff in here. Logan is in here. I keep him in here during the day. Luggage. All the windows are always open because I like the air to come through, and there's no air conditioner. So, Medellin doesn't need an air conditioner, honestly. Hey, what's up? But other places, Cartagena, Cali, you'll want to make sure the apartment has air conditioning. And this is what you consider the master bedroom. I'll show you the closet in here, but master bedroom, this is, you would think it was a queen size bed, but it's not. It's a full size bed. No, maybe it's a queen. It's a queen size bed. I'm used to a king size bed. This is kind of small. I'm a pretty big dude, but now that I think about it and sharing the bed, it's a queen size bed. we're not going to talk anymore about sharing the bed. Window, it's open, curtains, another TV, me in the mirror. You guys are probably like, why does he have suitcases holding doors open? Because literally I have every window in here open and the sliding glass door, and it gets really breezy, which is great, but it causes the door to slam. And when the doors slam here, because construction is amazing, you'll see these chips start to fall off because the door slams. So keep the doors propped open, piece of advice. This apartment does have hot water in the kitchen, in the bathrooms, and everywhere. So that is fantastic, but basic bathroom, nothing crazy. Shower. This shower head, I actually just realized today, is different because it's actually from the ceiling, whereas the other one is coming out of the wall. Closets. They don't have a whole lot of amazing closet space, but you will get usually some shelves. Nope. And a little drawer. Another opening for hanging. I travel, so I don't have a ton of clothes, guys. I really don't. And most of the clothes I have are from Colombia, surprisingly enough. So, again, decent size, but I mean, it's not a walk-in closet. It's a closet with the essential space necessary that you'll need. And then we are back out into the living room. So I will say I like things like the little shelves, some of the decorative artwork to make it feel more homely. Even though, I mean, let's be honest, I'm not buying that. But for the most part, it's decent. Okay, so I want to give you guys a walking tour and kind of show you Laureles. But for right now, I also wanted to give you guys some really good information about this area, different from all the rest. And in order to do that, I just searched the internet and stole information. So, Poblado, everyone, I actually met a couple yesterday. I can't remember their names right now. They're originally from India. They now live in Canada, and they're traveling the world because they wanted to do something different, and they wanted to see if they could vibe here in Colombia. And one of the reasons they're in Poblado is because they said, you know, when they researched it, everyone said Poblado was super safe. As I do the walking tour, I'm going to go through the differences of Poblado, Laureles, and some of the other barrios, which are neighborhoods, why they're safe, why they're not, why people think they're safer than others. But trust me when I tell you, Poblado is not the safest place to be in Colombia. Poblado is run by two groups of people: gangsters and those that are trying to make money from foreigners. So businessmen and gangsters, and really they're very closely knit, depending. So keep that in mind. That said, people think it's a phenomenal choice, but if you're looking to fall in love with some place for long-term living, you're looking for a neighborhood vibe and feel while still getting a little bit more interaction with locals, like local Colombians, Laureles is perfect for that. It's more laid back, residential, and it's on the northwestern part of Medellin. So, hey, okay, so sorry about that. The camera overheated and I had to kind of go through this all over again, but I wanted to come back for a second before we start walking around and I show you Laureles to give you an idea of what it is that I reference when I think of what's a safe city, what's a great city for travel, what are the things that I look out for. I will mention and kind of talk through some of those things as we're walking, but before we get out there, I kind of wanted to give you a reference and how to shape your mind on thoughts. So first off, we're in Colombia. Yes, I am in Medellin at this very moment. However, when someone says Medellin is incredibly safe, I'd want to know what part of Medellin. The same way if someone said Dallas, Texas, and I would say, okay, Dallas, but are we referencing Frisco? Are we referencing Plano? Are we referencing Irving, Garling? Like there's Mesquite, there's a bunch of different suburbs and other cities that are still considered within the larger city. So when someone says Medellin, there's going to be Poblado, Sabaneta, Envigado, Itagüí, Laureles, La Estrella. There's a lot of other little smaller cities that encompass, make up, shape, and form Medellin. All of that said, when you're traveling the world, it doesn't really matter the country. This is the thing I need you to understand. If you're worried about having your cell phone stolen, maybe getting mugged, those kind of things happen in heavily tourist-centric areas. So if you're in a spot where there's a lot of tourists, you need to be on the lookout for someone wanting to talk to you and have a conversation to distract you from maybe someone else that's with them taking your phone or following you because You have something they want and they're waiting for the perfect opportunity to take said thing. Maybe they spark up a conversation and they're friendly and you think, oh my goodness, the people here are so nice. But maybe they're not. And maybe they're just trying to soften you up so that they can take advantage of you in some way, shape, or form. So the first thing I would say is if you're going to a heavily tourist area, keep in mind that if the country that you're in, it doesn't have to be third world, but if they're not as fortunate as you are financially, there is a very high chance that you will encounter people that are looking to steal little things from you, like your wallet and your cell phone and things of that nature. So keep that in mind. If you are here in Colombia specifically, that would be something like Poblado. Everyone thinks Poblado is the safest place to be because there are so many expats and so many people from other countries there. But I can also tell you that Poblado specifically is not dangerous, but it's extremely dangerous. You need to be on the lookout. You need to be paying attention to who's around you, who's following you, why people are talking to you, all of those kind of things. I can tell you the last stories that have made headlines here with Americans and other foreigners dying here in Colombia have all stimulated and started from something that happened in Poblado. Let me say that again. Something that happened or occurred in Poblado. And the reason I say that is, I'm not going to go through names, but a lot of times people will meet other people here, women specifically. I haven't heard of it happening with men, but men meeting other women because it's a number one reason a lot of men travel here to Colombia specifically. And then they get themselves in situations where they met someone, maybe they went to the club with them, and then they get drugged. And maybe they're lucky and they only have all of their stuff taken. And maybe they're not so lucky and they end up dead because they were overdrugged. My point is, you may think it's safe, you may feel really comfortable, but I would absolutely and unequivocally keep your guard up. In Poblado specifically, the businesses and people exist there for two reasons. Gang-affiliated things where money can be earned from illegal substances, illegal activities, etc. And then business people that want to take advantage of the fact that there are a lot of tourists that come to Poblado and they can do great business. In either case, though, you have to understand that that scenario, that situation, that area is not as comfortable as you think just because you're walking around and seeing a bunch of other people that may be from your country. What else can I say? Oh, the other cities that are here, keep this in mind. Colombia is a place where everyone is looking for opportunity. Good opportunity, bad opportunity. It's a desperate place where people are looking for opportunities to change their current situation, whether that be economically, whether that be socially, whatever the case. So I say that to say this. People don't rob in places where people don't have anything. So a lot of times you think, oh, this is a great neighborhood or a bad neighborhood based on the economic status of the neighborhood. Well, you don't have to worry about getting mugged in an area where there are no tourists, because most likely the likelihood that people are out doing business there trying to rob other people is low because there's not a whole lot of victims that are available. In Poblado, for example, there's more. Laureles, it's the same thing. Because this is a heavily tourist-centric area, it's not as tourist-centric as Poblado, it's still an opportunity where people look to pickpocket, steal your cell phone, and do those kind of things. And it's not just for foreigners. If you are in a heavily tourist area, locals get robbed a lot as well. So be on the lookout, be safe, and keep that in mind. I'm gonna take you through Laureles. We're gonna walk and kind of see some of the areas. This is a very heavily centric heavily family neighborhood centric location. There are a lot of backpackers and hikers that kind of come to Laureles and hang out, a lot of digital nomads. This to me is the safer version or option if you're looking at Poblado or Laureles. There's still a bit of a nightlife, nothing crazy, but Laureles is so centrally located that you can get to some of the other areas with no problems. The other thing I would say is this. If you're trying to figure out what city to stay in, some of the cities that I would say are my favorites, I think are super safe, a lot more local with less tourists, are the following. In no kind of order, okay? Sabaneta, Itagüí, Envigado, La Estrella, Laureles, but we're talking about that today, and Bello. Those areas, if you can find a decent Airbnb, are going to give you more of a local feel, are still pretty centrally located. There are aspects of like Envigado and Sabaneta that can be far, depending on traffic especially, but you can feel safe, comfortable, and calm there without having to worry too much about running into too many tourists. It also gives you a better feel for Medellin and Colombia itself. In either case, let's walk around Laureles. I will tell you and give you some tips and tricks as I'm thinking about things that I look at while I walk, and let's explore it. So stay tuned. Peace. My goodness, guys, we finally made it outside. I know you guys have no idea why I'm saying that. But let me just tell you, I came downstairs to start recording Laureles and walk around, I don't know, 4 or 5 times. So that's why I'm saying that. And I've been having issues lately with getting things I need, specifically butter. I know right now in the US there's an egg shortage. Shout out to Denise, one of my nutrition clients, who has told me about her struggles getting eggs. Well, right now I'm struggling getting butter. For like the last couple weeks here in Colombia, the butter that I use has just not been around. All right, so just really quick. This is a school. Right there is a park. We're gonna pass the park. But you can see this is all neighborhood-like. I mean, and the other thing I want you to notice as we walk is that it's flat. This is one of the few areas, the few neighborhoods in Colombia in general where you can walk around and not have to worry about losing your breath because of all the mountains you have to climb. Laureles is probably one of the most flat cities here. So the other thing I think is so cool about Medellin in general is you can usually always find a park with workout equipment, and this park is no different. So we're walking to get butter, by the way. That was the point of me saying that. But so here you'll see like playground stuff, and I know it's getting dark and there's a lot of trees, but here there's like fitness equipment and stuff. Maybe when we come back we'll kind of walk through that. But the point is, fitness is one of those things that you would think is like super popular in the US, and it's the most popular in the US, but it's not. And I wish in the US we did more to have people more physically fit and more inclined to work out, even if they couldn't afford a gym membership and all those great things. But I digress. I'm gonna keep kind of showing you the area so you can kind of get a feel. Again, these are all residential houses. So a little bit different than you get in the Poblado, even some Sabaneta. You'll get more restaurants and stuff kind of mixed in all over the place. Whereas in Laureles, when you get to the area where there's a lot of restaurants, there's a lot of restaurants. But for the most part, Laureles is comprised of parks and residential neighborhoods. So again, it's one of those things that it makes it great to walk around. It makes it very peaceful if you're staying here for a long term. However, there are some things you need to keep in mind. So let's go through them. You'll see right now I'm walking with traffic. So the direction of traffic is this way. I'm walking in this direction. I strongly advise against that. And the reason I strongly advise against that is because if you're walking with traffic, okay, you never know when someone's coming up on you. And the reason why that's important is one of the things they do here in Colombia specifically when they're going to rob you is you'll have 2 guys, maybe a guy and a girl. I have never heard of it with a guy and a girl, but I don't see why not. So they'll be on a motorcycle or moto, as they call it here in Colombia, and they'll run up on you. I mean, they'll even run up like right here on the sidewalk on their motorcycle and then tell you to give you everything that you have in your pocket, your phone, you know, the things that are important. I haven't heard of anyone losing, like, no one's taking passports unless they grab your whole bag, but they will absolutely run up on you. So what does that mean? My recommendation is, let me just show you. If you're gonna be walking, don't walk with traffic, walk against the traffic. And that way you can always see and understand who's coming and who's not. It'll probably be easier if I waited for the other traffic to come. Granted, if I'm recording this and I die on camera, you guys will know exactly what happened. So this is one of the areas in Laureles where you can see there's some stores, but nothing crazy. You know, you get your typical pharmacy. This is an orthodontist office. There's some drinks. There's like things peppered through. A couple of mechanic shops. But again, where we're walking right now, we're gonna go more into like the areas where there's more stores. The direction we're actually walking right now is going to be towards the main area of restaurants in Laureles. And we're not going, all right. So similar to the street I was on when we were talking residential neighborhoods in Laureles, this is now complete restaurants, commercial things. you'll see as I'm walking, you'll start to see things a little bit more common. For instance, there's going to be a Starbucks coming up here in a second. More restaurants like Parmesano. You can't see it, but it's way down there at the corner. Public house. These wings are the best wings in Laureles. This is, oh my goodness, why can't I remember the name? Oh my goodness. And their wings, if you order hot wings, it's called Hot Wings. Hot Wings Saloon in Laureles. It's this building. And if you see it on Rappi, which is that guy leaving on Rappi, definitely order these wings. I cannot stress that enough. They're good. And the spicy, for those that want picante, like actually hot, they're spicy. It's actually the first time I've had spicy wings in Colombia, even though I order them constantly. So that's my recommendation on that one. And then these are all restaurants, even though it just looks like plants. Starbucks is across the street on the corner here. Right there is the Starbucks. And I know I'm breaking my own rules here walking with traffic, but do you see how this guy just went through the sidewalk? It's not like it's an uncommon thing, so you can't look at someone coming on the sidewalk and expect that they're going to do you harm, but you do have to pay attention to it, and so it's easiest to pay attention when you're walking against traffic. That's my whole point in saying that. And I mean, these are small bikes. There's bike too. You can see like they're not huge, so it makes it easy to run up on a sidewalk, steal your things and leave. All right, a couple other highlights because I'm here. Juan Valdez is the Starbucks of coffee here in Colombia. Not a huge fan, but it'll do in a pinch. But this place, Bara Burrito, is the closest thing you'll find to a Chipotle here, in Medellin specifically. Bara Burrito. And then for those keto friends, you look right above, there's that restaurant, or it's a bakery, Pecado Sin Culpa, means it's without guilt. And that's because their stuff is made without sugar. However, not a fan because they use artificial sweeteners like erythritol. Just a heads up for any of you people conscious about what you eat. And for those that don't know, erythritol is absolutely horrible for your gut biome and for so many other things. It's created by processing corn, which your body actually can't digest, which is why it does not have an impact on your insulin. But I feel like that's information for another video. But again, as you can see, this is all restaurants. And I mean, I walked, so the distance from 100% residential to pretty much all commercial is close. All that said, guys, I hope you enjoyed. You know, the thing to keep in mind always is you don't want to ruin your vacation, your travel experiences, your ability to enjoy other cultures by getting a false sense of security. If you are at your own home in your own country and you're paying attention to people and weird things, do that in every country you visit, no matter if you think it's safe or dangerous. Some of the most dangerous cities in any of the countries I've ever been to have come in the areas with the highest tourists, where you would think it's the safest place. And some of the safest, most comfortable places I have been happen to have been in some of the most ghetto areas of those places. People don't do crimes, I should say criminals don't do crime where they live, and they don't typically live in the places you want to visit. So keep that in mind, stay safe, enjoy. Hey, if you like this video, you like the information, you kind of like the flow of things, do me a favor, click the bell for notifications, subscribe, like, and share it with anyone. I don't care who you share it with, but share it. Thanks so much. Neo out. Peace.